right, welcome to Dragon's Tome number 67. I am your host this week, Chopper, and I am joined with the ever familiar Rob
Hello.
and Jack.
The somewhat familiar.
Somewhat familiar. Well, he was dead last week, but then he came back to life, and then we found out he wasn't dead, so
He's a familiar to a witch.
he's familiar. Oh, we're going straight to D&D.
Sometimes I'm a toad.
So here we are, November 1982, as you can tell by our Thanksgiving Day themed cover.
Thanksgiving is in
Yes.
October. It makes no sense to me.
Ugh, Canadians.
It's by Jack Crane.
Jack Crane apparently has problems with Thanksgiving because
It's barbarians
this
cutting
guy
turkey.
he is angry at the turkey. And let me
Hey.
tell you, that thing is full of stuffing though. Look at that thing.
It's very stuffed. There's no meat. It's just skin, bone, and stuffing.
Yeah. It's all that's true.
And fun fact: the artist, Mr. Crane here, I think he ends up being bludgeoned to death with a camera tripod in a hotel. So
That's Bob. That's his
Whoa,
father.
that's
His
dark.
father. Wouldn't that be sad if it was related to him? It's a common name.
Um,
I'm sure there's no relation.
Is it
No.
spelled the same as Bob?
No, it's well. Oh, you mean his last name?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
but yes, there's a Thanksgiving theme, and if we look at the top here, astral adventuring. So that's not very Thanksgiving-y. Greyhawk. Well, unless you stuff that with some stuffing and some giblets. Greyhawk isn't very Thanksgiving, and new MU spells.
Let me just point out though that there's no D&D module and or play out game that leaves
Yes,
this at $3.
there's a modular. There's a modular.
Is there a module?
Yeah, it's a scenario for AD&D adventuring the astral plane. That's why you
Oh.
don't realize it was there because you skipped it. I'm sure.
Oh,
Hmm.
you
All
just
right.
couldn't see it. There was astral.
Astral.
Who did this cover, Rob?
Jack Crane. We just talked about it.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
Hey,
We got so distracted with Bob Crane that I
fun fact: I believe this artist was bludgeoned to death with a
tripod.
camera
Here we
tripod
go. And
in a
that's
hotel room.
and that's what threw me off. Uh, I would call this a little subpar for where we should be now with Dragon Magazine
Yeah,
covers.
it is a throwback to the older covers. I think I agree.
Yeah.
It's a distinct art style that I don't think doesn't have a place, but when you just had um, like Caldwell doing and Elmore and stuff like that, they all can't be that same caliber and they can't all be that same style. But it is a bit jarring. It is a
stands
bit
out. Yes.
for
Yeah.
us going week to week, every week, seeing a new one. After a month, you'd forget maybe that you just saw, you know, I don't know.
No, I hear you.
He's forgiven.
All right. Let's move on then. Rob, what do you got for the Dragon Rebels?
It's getting shorter and shorter. This one, a new publisher. There's a new publisher named Mike Cook. Mike Cook is taking over. Jaquette moved on to another company. This other company eventually is going to publish a magazine called Gameplay. Can we have an over-under? How many years did this magazine last?
2 years.
Over-under, Jack.
2 years and 1 day.
You're wrong. It is less than 1 year.
Oh, even by Price is Right's rules, I didn't succeed.
Less than a year. Yeah. So another editor went to make his fortune on another magazine, which failed. This is our second one we lost, and so it's Kim Mohan is now the editor, and Mike Cook is the publisher. He's a TSR guy. He's I think he came from the he's like a money guy, I think. So yeah, he's some money is getting involved now. So we might see some big changes coming in the future.
Yes.
That's it. It's a short one.
All right. Jack, what do you have for your first article?
That is a good question. I probably should have read this magazine. Well, let's just randomly go to page 65 and see if there's something there I can talk about. Because I don't know.
It's the only one I have too.
Oh, that I lucked out. Poker, chess, and the AD&D system. And Rob, if you can,
You guys just home in on these Gary Gygax articles like heat seekers.
can
Wow,
you
there wasn't much. What I have to say about this magazine, it's all about astral planes. I have nothing to talk about. It does have a lot of
100%.
color plates throughout the magazine though, which is nice.
Yeah, Rob, you can be my wingman on this one
Sure.
because it is Gary's take on why D&D has to be more like poker, where the rules are defined by the person who made it, and there is no wiggle room, and less like chess, which he says is a derivative game based on other games that has been allowed to
Wow.
be corrupted by
It's
different
got to be like
influences and
American
stuff.
chess, not all these other weird chesses.
And so that's the root of it. I don't think it sounds crazy that I just said it that way, but
To
if
sum
you
it
read
up,
the article,
he's railing against homebrewing in AD&D, which I said he must be rolling in his grave because everybody homebrews now.
some of
Yeah.
the best stuff is
Oh,
homebrewed.
he'd be rolling his grave on this open gaming license.
Yeah. Oh, that's what everybody's like. Oh, what would Gary say? Gary would have hated open gaming lists. He'd have been
Yeah.
like, we've seen how much he hates other people touching his stuff. So yeah, no, he would have hated that.
He had loved all the cash infusion that was gotten
Well, there's no cash infusion because it's open. There's no money.
from the free advertising of all
Oh, free
those
advert, yeah.
writers and stuff to
No,
play
I
the
don't
game.
think
He would have
so. Because
loved
this is all
that.
free advertising too, and he still doesn't love it. I don't think so.
But
He would have said, "My game stands on its own. I don't need all these other people."
Yeah.
when it comes to seeing what else comes out, then he would have he would have turned. But anyways, he kind of alludes to the fact that D&D should be a bit like it gets muddied and sullied every additional thing that you add to it, and into the point where you're getting a subpar
Yeah.
product. And you'd think the people who were playing at the table would come to a consensus of what came, what could join, what didn't. You'd have to trust in your
That's a
DM.
DM's job, yeah.
There's a whole bunch of factors that he doesn't address. And my question is, and he never points out to anything in particular. I wonder if there was something that was like something egregious. Was there anything released that was like, hey, this is for D&D?
I think what it is he kind of goes against all the articles in Dragon Magazine. Like he's except for his own, of course, but it's Dragon Magazine. He's really fighting against here.
I don't think so.
He says that anything that's not his written by his hand is, and that's 90% of Dragon. Plus,
Okay.
all these other companies like Palladium with that weapons book, all those weapons aren't official. That kind of stuff.
Yes, I was just wondering if there was one thing that was like Jim's guide to pornography in Greyhawk,
No,
and
I
he was
don't
like,
think
oh,
it's.
okay, come on, let's
I think it
you
literally
know,
is Dragon Magazine because Dragon
well,
kind of purports to be somewhat official, but even though they say it's not official, but it's made by TSR. So, but he says some house rules though will be standardized in the new AD&D expansion. He calls it, and I said hold your breath for that one because it'll be here anytime now. Keep holding that breath. But yeah, he says once again. He said it many times. If you add anything to AD&D, it is not AD&D. D&D, he said go crazy. D&D doesn't matter. AD&D is a set of rules, and that's D&D. And only serious players will play. Only serious players will play official rules. Anybody else is not serious.
Yeah.
Yep, and it really seems to be tournament focused. Like he's like, well, when a bunch of people get together to play in these tournaments, it's like D&D is not a tournament game. Don't try to make it that. I know you did, but it's the same thing I see in a lot of games where they make sure it's all so everything's equal. Everything's got to be perfect because it's for tournaments. It's no, just have fun. It's supposed to be about having fun. It's a game, god damn it.
yeah. But I think we did a pretty decent job. It's 4 or 5 pages of this writing that he does,
Yeah.
and basically we touched on the majority of it. But
He does
Yeah.
defend a part of it. He defends his barbarian class a lot because he's like, oh, some people say it's too powerful. Some people say it's not powerful
Well,
enough.
it
But,
gets
but he,
crazy
no, but
powerful.
he says some people say it's not powerful enough, and that it's just a waste of a class because it's nobody's ever gonna play it. I'm like, you insane?
Yeah.
But I said he does come off as fucking condescending in this whole article, like very condescending. Like if it's not me, it's not good. Like that's what I. It really came across more than ever. Usually I love him when he's ranting, but this he really came down as being a dick.
And you think it's about Drag Magazine? There wasn't something that came out that
I
was
think it's about Dragon
so
and all the
egregious.
other things. No, I think it's
Okay.
mostly about Dragon though. I think
Okay.
he's feeling that Dragon magazine has too many good ideas that he can't steal them all. So,
Well.
but yeah,
Okay. That was my and apparently Rob's article.
yep,
So, is it my turn then?
yes, it is.
All right.
Sure.
We'll go to page 6,
Who's in charge of this one?
Yeah, Jesus.
and we'll talk about some new magic user spells.
No, he won't. You'll talk about new magic use spells.
Yeah. Well, you know, it was just a very simple article about new spells. It didn't even do too much. I
No,
did. It just Gary Gagish just said, "All right, here's some new spells. Take them."
Yeah,
And I did like, but I will say I did point out that some of these just border on like cantrips as big spells.
there's cantrips that can do more. Yeah,
Yeah. So I mean, I did like the armor one. And of course, armor does make itself into.
most of these ones could like. I remember Tasha's uncontrollable hideous laughter. That's for sure in Unearthed Arcana, and a
Yeah,
lot of
these
these I
some.
think are
and
Melf's Acid
still
Arrow.
right
Yeah.
to fifth edition. Some of these
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh, they're
these
still
are
around. Yeah, these
Yeah.
are.
So these are actually nice spells, and some again like this melt could have is I think is more of a cantrip than an actual
I do like how he says
spell.
who each of these people are. It's I forget where he says it, who Melf is, who Tasha. Like he explains who all these people are, which is kind of funny. They're all people played in his games. I think Melf's his son, one of his sons.
Which one,
I don't
Ernie?
know. I don't remember.
so.
I can't remember who wrote it. It's
If you're
somewhere in here.
playing D&D Trivial Pursuit and that question comes up, you can thank Rob because you'll be like,
You'll not
Is
know
it
it
in,
because Rob will be like, "What? Who?"
is it in the spell description?
Maybe it
who
was somewhere
is
else he
Mel?
mentioned all these people. Maybe it wasn't even in this article where he mentioned
I
all
mean
the
this
other
this
names.
is actually kind of like a part two. The part one was the illusionist ones, which we didn't talk about in last week's
Because illusionist should be
magazine
taken out.
because
Maybe it was an
it's
illusionist one that
illusionists
he mentioned too. Whoever all these people were could be.
because it was illusionists and we don't like illusionists.
We don't
Say it, Rob. Say it.
we don't play with those people.
We don't cotton to no illusionists around here.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't even that big of an article. I just did it because I enjoyed some of these spells and I know some of these spells are still around.
And it has
And
nothing to do with the astral plane.
yeah, uh,
It's gonna be
but
a short episode.
we're gonna talk about the astral plane because Doctor Strange spends a lot of time in it in the last movie. All right, Rob, what's your article next? That's it.
I don't have any more articles, but I will say, look
Are
at all the
you
colored pictures. Look at these colored pictures everywhere.
are you back? Are you tapped out too,
I'm
Jack?
Give
I'm
us a
just gonna
page number then,
scroll.
Rob. If
Oh,
you're
there
just
was
gonna
sorry. This one beautiful picture on page 10 is a mission, not just a game or adventure. They have some actual art or pictures and beautiful pictures of the supplements. Very nice.
So we're going straight to ads then. We're not going to talk about articles anymore.
No, there's actually color plates in here somewhere. I just can't find them.
I I I am tapped out on articles as well, but I do have two ads. So if
I have two ads also. Oh, here's a
I
color plate.
still
Here we go. Page 853. It's the cat sorcerer one. It's a cat throwing, or a sorcerer throwing a cat, I believe.
I'm glad you brought this up. This is I remember this picture from I had a book of D&D art or whatever it was, and I thought this is such an interesting. There's so much going on. I when I saw this, I was like, oh my god, this is such a great. I would never have guessed it was from a work of fiction in Dragon that had multiple pictures from the same artist involved in a
King of cats.
King of Cats.
But
He likes drawing kitties. That's this thing guy's thing. Yeah. Anyways, Pat, do you have another article?
I do. I have two more.
Well, good.
too.
I
Please.
did 17.
Okay,
I
17.
bring this one up because I used to like using giant spiders in my adventures,
Just because you don't
Everyone
like
loves
spiders?
giant spiders.
but I only just made them tarantula types. What I liked about this article is now you get all the different kinds of different spiders that are out in the world now.
Do they have trapdoor spiders? Because they're the worst.
Yeah, they have wolf. They have the wolf spider, giant wolf spider here.
Yeah.
It's on page 17
They have
of
trapdoor or
the.
purse spiders too.
Yeah. So whoever did this article, what's his name, Greg Chamberlain, went too deep to touch all the different spiders that are out there. He even did a daddy logling. I didn't realize daddy loglings were hunter spiders.
I didn't think so. I just kill them when I see them. I'm
Yeah,
the
but
hunter.
apparently
Who's hunting
they're
the hunters? Me.
well, they hunt, but the smaller bugs.
Yeah.
Because
Spiders are
spiders.
good.
No.
Keep them around. Let them live.
I do. I let the
They
daddy
almost
logling
all
because
die.
they eat all the flies.
Yeah, let them do their thing.
Renfield eats the flies. Let the spiders
Renfield. That's
die.
Nicolas Cage.
No, Nicolas
No.
Cage is Dracula.
That's true.
Is he? I thought he was Renfield. Oh, who's Renfield in
No.
the movie? Anyways.
So that was it for the spiders. And then my last article is on page 25.
25.
Another Gygax article. He's all over these Dragon magazines.
Yeah,
right
these
now.
are a lot of famous gods. A lot of famous gods. I use Saint Cuthbert, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, as I just this is a part now where he's starting to flesh out his world. It's starting to people are more and more starting to play the Greyhawk world. My cousin was super into it, and I always relied to him to fill out these worlds. But then it wasn't until after I read the books that were based in the Greyhawk, the books that Gygax wrote, that these started to come to my head because I uses like the big bad god of that world,
Mm-hmm.
and Saint Cuthbert is like one of the knights gods.
Mm-hmm.
So it was nice to now that I see this outside of my cousin showing me that these. It's nice to see that he's fleshing out his world and putting a pantheon in there.
Yeah.
If you're going to have clerics, you're going to need gods. And if you're going to make a self-contained... I know D&D borrowed heavily from, Northern European myth and stuff like that to begin with. But if you're going to make your own and you need, otherworldly deities, you got to make them up. And I remember some of these. I remember at the time thinking, "Oh, this is a well done kind of mythos."
Mm-hmm. Faux show, and they're famous. Yep.
Yeah.
They're still around. They stuck it out. Many gods fall by the wayside, but these gods survive.
St. Cuthbert's chicken, fantastic.
St. Cuthbert's chicken, it's good chicken. All right, so those are my 3 articles that I went through. There is, if those are interested, there is an astral plane reading thing, but it's very dry.
Astral planes, who likes them? Not us.
I tried.
It's
God, I tried.
It's not the best article.
Astral
but
planes are like the area that you'd go to if you ran out of all other ideas.
the problem is that, but you know how Gary Gygax loves his planes.
He does.
But the astral plane connects all the planes.
And the one article there that I was reading, it wasn't even by Gary Gygax, and I'm like, this
Roger
guy's
Moore.
just
with the
by
preface
James
by
Bond.
Gary Gygax. Yeah, he gets the okay.
Who does this guy think
Gary
he is?
Gygax.
He thinks he's pretty famous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Rob, what is your article then? Or your ad, I mean.
My first ad is on page 74.
74.
Oh, that's one of mine.
There's 4 ads here, maybe not.
Oh, maybe not.
It's the Griffin Games miniature
Oh,
case.
that's mine.
I just want to say, Battlefoam gonna sue somebody, but this was obviously many years before Battlefoam. Is this the first miniature case? That's my question.
At this point, I would probably say yes, but the thing I put down was like $75 for a steamer trunk that looks like it's from the 1920s.
And it holds
I'd pay for
200
that right
miniatures.
now.
Yeah, 200 miniatures.
Just so much money.
75
I pay
bucks?
for that right now.
You can't buy a battle foam bag for 75 bucks.
Yeah, you can.
Not 200 figure one.
Yeah, but this one's also made out of wood.
That's
$75 in
awesome.
1983 is a
Looks like a
lot of
steamer
money.
trunk. Oh, that's what you're talking. You're
Can you
talking my
imagine bringing
language
this
now.
to your convention, to bringing this to
Well,
Gen Con?
I think this is for storing at
You're going
home.
to have to get yourself a porter.
I would two Sherpas. Yeah, for sure.
But I just found it funny. It's a plywood covered in brown leatherette. I have
Yeah.
that. Mine's blue leatherette, but it's right over there.
I found it
I
funny
could make my
because
own.
it looked like a steamer trunk.
It is a steamer trunk.
Like you're coming off
It's a steamer trunk they put. I don't know if they're wood.
the Oriental Express or the Titanic.
I don't know what's holding the foam. I don't know if it's wood like things to go inside there, but it looks like it.
It looks like a wood insert. Yeah.
It would be my pleasure to own that.
Well, Jack,
Oh, all
maybe
right,
it's in your
Jack.
future. Griffin
What
Games,
do you have for an ad?
New Jersey.
Oh, okay. I could do a bit where I just said page 74 and then just pick another one of these and everyone would laugh and laugh and laugh. But no, I'm serious.
What
I'm serious,
what
guys.
isn't 74 is the electronic dice kit from 2 weeks ago.
Yes. It also has Vorpal Blade Go Snicker Snack.
Yeah, that
Dice bags.
dice
Even
bag.
back then,
Using
even dice
it-
bags.
A leather dice bag, and to use, like, of all the things you could do, you have to say that your dice are bad because they're not in a dice. You know what? There's people who believe that now, so I'm gonna rescind that. I know there's
That's
dice
true.
jails are a thing. I know
Yeah.
people who will take dice and go, okay, this one's bad luck tonight. So I rescind any
The
comments.
dice gods are not looking fondly on you, Jack.
Yes, Dice Christ. I throw myself at the mercy of the altar of Dice Christ. If we
No, it wasn't Fantasy Unlimited. The bad ad before. It was Fantasy something else, right? Because there is a Fantasy Unlimited on this page also, but I don't think it's them. It was different. This is a complete wizard outfit though for
I was
70
gonna,
bucks.
this is a cosplay ad.
Nice. Copper bracers for $12 each. That's pretty good. And a reversible hooded cape for 60. That's expensive.
I wonder what's made of and what it looked like.
I bet
Imagine
I
showing
bet it's
up
all
now.
homemade. Like this is probably great quality compared to what we get nowadays.
You'd show up and it'd be,
Legit.
oh, I'm a wizard.
Oh yeah, because this is allowed 8 weeks for delivery. It's got to be
They're
custom.
making it. Yeah. Jack, please, your ad before we go on.
84, please.
84.
Oh,
This is my other ad.
this is my other ad too.
Well, I can do my other one
No,
instead.
that's all right.
No, it's too late.
Okay, it's too
You've
late.
said it.
Everyone's seen it. Take
This
your
is crazy.
imagination to a new level. Now, I didn't know this existed. I don't know if this was a repurposing of something else by TSR to make a. I honestly don't even know exactly what it is that
These
is
are basically
sale.
NPC kits made by NPC for Dungeons and Dragons. Basically, they just took their mold
kits.
injectors, their model kits, and made D&D terrain for
Yeah,
Dungeons
this
and Dragons.
is probably originally like some like World War II diorama set or something, and
Yeah,
or maybe in World War One with the trenches. But yeah, they
it's basically just
painted it up and made a. You could play on a board. You'd have to
I
keep
mean, if
playing
you-
on the same board.
whoever was in charge of NPC, because that company goes out of business after a while. Because these are the guys. NPC also makes those Space 1999 models that I got,
Oh yeah, that's right.
and they also Monogram made Buck Rogers. Monogram also made NPC also made Star Wars models, like X-wings and Tie fighters.
Yeah, they were a model company.
Yeah, and they made the Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, and the
So do you think
robot
this is
ones.
the beginning of like D&D 2.5 or whatever they call it? It's not 3D, it's like 2.5D. This pretty much like there wasn't miniatures like this, sets like where you could play on boards like this.
No, and I think
No, I
this-
think this was still just diorama makes.
I don't
At
know.
this
It looks
point.
like it's playable.
you think people would. I assumed it was, you'd have this on a shelf with your miniatures there,
No,
and you
that-
would.
at this point, this is still it because we're not playing with miniatures full on yet here.
Well, they mentioned at the bottom it's like it's if it's not for miniatures, it's for actual playing on because they're like, oh, you could put two sets together and play, let your imagination roam and play across them, and so
Yeah.
so maybe it's as a toy more than a miniature thing, but I think it might be for like laying out dungeons. Like this might be the beginning of
These
actually
kits
playing.
weren't that big though. I mean, they're only 1 foot by
Yeah,
a foot
they're
and a
small.
half.
Yeah, they're small.
So, and
Those are
it's not
probably
even a dungeon. It's not
those are
even a real dungeon.
those are probably 15 millimeter miniatures on there.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
these are the
these
toy.
are.
These are the because these are from the guys of the stairs. That's the halfling kit. There's the shambling mound from the monsters. Uh,
So it's the actual official AD&D kit.
yeah, the wizard over there is the wizard. That's the cleric.
Yeah.
These are the orcs.
So
Uh,
it's still measured out in imperial
this
units. So
yeah,
it's
this
got
is
to
the
be because the U.S. turns over to metric in what 87.
no. It should be we should be metric now because in the 70s we were learning metric
Oh, okay,
because we
okay.
were told in the states
You
there
had
are
to
going to
learn it.
there are going to be people who know metric and the people who won't have jobs.
And where'd that get you, Pat? Actually, for you, it probably got you far because in medical industry they use a lot of
I do
metric.
both.
Yeah.
I do both. So unlike you people who are limited to one.
No, we
I
do
have to do
both.
both too.
Yeah, because of
Uh,
carpentry and any manufacturing uses
but
imperial.
that dragon in the center is that dragon piece that we see on the table. It's green here, not red.
There you go.
So these are the Rauparta kits or the Grenadier kits.
But yeah, so this is interesting. Anyways, it's
Yeah.
definitely expanding into other
Well, they didn't go
realms.
far. I mean, as far as
Yeah,
that because
No,
this is
I
the
only
first.
saw these at the train
but I
station
bet a lot of kids saw this and
store.
said, "Oh, I can build that myself," and that's where it starts, right?
Oh, probably.
Oh, probably. And like I said, I would have
We've
it on
all
my
built
shelf with all my miniatures on there, and you could
we've all
look at
built
it.
boards in our time with
Mhm.
Yeah,
paper mache, and this is the
Well,
beginning of
with
that kind of stuff.
when you're selling this at a train store, and then you go like, "Ooh, this," and then you actually see really good train
Oh yeah,
from the train kit. You're like, "Oh,
yeah.
why
If
don't I
you go
just
to
use
actual
that one
hobby store,
instead?"
yeah, that's different. I
yeah.
bet this is on like toy shelves in like Toys R Us, you know.
Yeah, and well, it was also in the train stores
Yeah,
and the model stores.
but like say, who would buy it from there when you see real good kits?
Yeah, well, that's why I never bought it because where I got my stuff was a train store.
Yeah,
Mm.
So,
because you're fancy.
well, so you go do what you get.
So you go. I have no more
Uh,
ads.
well, I have one last ad because you guys have used all my ads, and that would be page 20.
Oh, so I still have an ad. Oh,
Which one on
I
20?
see.
It'll be City Book One. This is a book I bought because design from when I was doing it, designing a city was too much graph paper.
Yeah, Flying Buffalo is another one that Gygax has mentioned before in the past.
Yeah,
As they also make Grim Truth's traps, which everybody had.
yeah,
Uh, yeah, I wonder if this also, like Jack was saying, as a target of things he didn't like. Somebody's making a city book before he could make his Greyhawk city book. Probably pissed him off. Or gave him the idea, because I don't know if the Greyhawk city book was in his mind already, but the actual, like, because that box set with all those maps for the city was crazy.
yeah.
So,
So
and this is kind of the same idea.
yeah. So this is my ad
And you had it. It's the
because too much graph paper.
I do like
When
to
I
say
was when I was taping together like 8x8 sheets of graph paper just to make the city, I was like, oh
yeah, these for all role playing systems. It's not for D&D, it's for all role playing systems.
yeah,
And a lot of this stuff with supplements and stuff, it is like a cost saving measure. A lot of that stuff you could you Pat, you could have sat and made the map for the city
I could have,
that people may or may not have
and I
spent
did
time in.
prior to this book.
But if you're like, I got a job, I got stuff to do,
Oh, I
you
was
know,
13. I didn't
you,
have a job, but I had football
but
practice.
someone did. Someone was a high school science teacher who was just grading papers, but also in 2 days, all his buddies were coming over, and he
Or he was
promised he was.
running the D&D club at the school.
So, or oh yeah, there's a bunch of students, and he's like, oh, they wanted to go shop in the city. There you go, Finster's sundries and such. Yep.
For sure.
Well,
A helpful GM guide.
what do you got, Jack?
Jack.
Page 2.
Two.
The
Two.
adventure is yours.
Two.
Oh yeah, I put this one in for next week, so I'm gonna just take it out. But
Well, we already recorded next week, so yeah, he's gonna edit next week. We're not gonna see this mentioned in next week.
No, I just erased it from my notes.
But we already recorded next
But
week.
we already recorded it. That's the bit I
Ne-
just did.
no, not next week's.
You got
It's
it,
Are we recording backwards?
yes and
Pat. More of a no,
he's not a
no.
no and no. You
Okay,
failed the improv class.
yeah. Let's pull back the curtain. There's no one talking to me in this earpiece either,
What?
so we don't have a
What do you
producer
It
mean?
named
doesn't
Tim.
exist.
No,
Wait.
Who
Who's
am I
been running
paying?
this? Who's been running this whole thing?
I've been
Who
doing
have I
this
been
bit
paying these
for
weeks?
60 episodes, and now everyone knows.
Oh
Ruined
God! Well,
everything.
I'm just finding out myself.
Okay, well,
Hey, look at these
we,
D&D sets. Are these the box sets?
This is the expert set.
Mm.
and mostly if we've seen the artwork that TSR has access to, that is me in high school a level of art
It's not great.
that they're using. It's not great.
It's like Rankin and Bass going on here.
That horse has got no body; it's just legs.
No,
I
no,
didn't even know there was a horse.
it looks like a cursed image that someone would like. This
I
guy with
can't
no
stop
neck.
looking. Their eyes, they're boring into me. I'm gonna have nightmares about this thing.
A unibrow there. He's got no neck. Like it looks like Ram Man with
does
in
look like
disguise.
Ram Man. Where's He-Man at?
He's coming out this year, I believe. Actually,
maybe he's the
probably
baby
out by
that's.
I will
maybe-
say though, when I looked at this ad for my turn, that'll never happen.
'Cause we edited it
I
out.
never even noticed this pics. All I just saw was the expert set was out.
And
But-
those people having the generic people having fun at the table.
Yes.
and a baby
Ah.
crawling across the cobblestones by her side.
Oh yeah, it's just by the mutated horse.
Yes,
It's a very
There's
small baby. It
there's
might
a
be
small
just a
baby
It's
fetus.
a kitty.
in the
Is it a
doorway
cat?
crawling across the.
I think it's a
Um,
cat. I think the horse ran over a cat.
I just think that perhaps
Yeah, of all the art, even the covers of them, is like, couldn't they just use one of the covers? They're so much better. Why this art?
So my question is, the covers of those are of the old style, like they're not up to say like we've discussed that are coming out on the. Do you think it was a conscientious choice to use art to keep a theme, or do you think that whomever's eighth grade art class put this together won a contest of some sort?
I'm gonna go with contest.
No, I think you're right, Jack. I think it's to reduce expectations. If they put awesome art in the ad, and you got the book, and it's all the covers aren't great, and there's all black and white pictures inside. There's no color or anything. You'd be like, oh,
You could just use live people though. You didn't have to put those.
yeah. They could have just had the people at the table standing, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not like even just the city itself without those people in it would have been fine. That's pretty nice, but those characters are terrible.
Yeah, oh yeah. The city, it's blocked in almost. Someone just when they chose the horizon line to do all the buildings, it just doesn't really work. But that's being nitpicky at this point. When you look and see a guy who you can't tell if that's a beard on that thief or if he's that's a giant mustache. If that's a
I don't know either.
Anyways, also looks like we got some books coming out.
Box sets.
Box sets. It's the B and E of the Beckham.
Ooh, and someone bent it.
It's true.
All right.
Yeah.
Is that it for ads?
That's it for me.
Jack,
I'm done.
would you like to check in with the producer, see if there's anything else we should be covering?
I don't like the unofficial product placement, but it's okay. Do you have people looking out for the stuff? Are you tugging your ear? Are you doing it for the grandkids? What's going on here?
Yes, I'm obligated to do certain things. One of them, the cool, refreshing taste of menthol. 8 out of 10 doctors recommend certain brands of cigarettes, and it seems Big Tobacco really makes me do a lot of stuff, but I can't tell anyone.
That hasn't happened yet.
Don't worry. I'll edit it out. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Okay. Okay.
Ask Tim. Ask Tim if I'll edit it
Uh,
out. He doesn't exist.
No, C. Everett Koop isn't. No, it's not yet. No, Tim. Okay. Okay.
All right.
Tim's in Jack's head.
All right. Let's wrap this up then.
Means I've been paying Tim this whole time, and it's been Jack.
It's true. He's been taking money from us, Rob.
I think so. Anyways, enough
All
of this
right.
episode. Enough of the astral realm.
Let's wrap up the astral realm of episode 67. From inside the booth, Tim would like to say goodbye. And for the Dragon's Tome, like, subscribe, bing the bell, blah, blah, blah. And for the Dragon's Tome, I've been Chopper.
I've been Jack.
A patient.
Gesundheit.
No patient.
I said
And then
anticipation. Like I said anti way long ago, and I said Rob. I've been Rob. It didn't work. It's fine.
It didn't work. And then and Jack's ear has been Tim.
Jack's ear is Tim.
Rob's just trying to curry favor.
Curry favor. All right. Bye-bye.
Tim Curry?
See that? Because he says and.
Click.